Happy Monday, guys. So this week has been interesting. Wednesday was my dad's birthday, his 40th birthday. So my mom and I were trying to throw him a surprise party, and he made it as difficult for us as possible. So he already knew that I was going to come down on his birthday to spend his birthday with him, and then I was going to go to Laura's and watch the finale. Our plan was we wanted him to go with his coworkers to this place they always go to for happy hour called the Firehouse Grill. And then we would already be there and surprise him with a bunch of his friends and stuff. But since he knew that I was coming home on Wednesday, he told my mom, he's like, you know what, I'm just going to take the whole day off and work from home. So I'm like, okay. So my mom calls me, she's like, you have got to find a way to get out of that. So say that you have something to do with school, because then he won't be butthurt over it. So I'm like, okay. So I call him, and I'm like, I'm really sorry, Dad, but I have to rewrite my last paper because it's genre fiction, not literary fiction, and I have to write my new paper, and I have to do the 2 exercises, and I just won't have time. And then I can't drive down during Wednesday because I'm meeting with my professor for office hours from 3 to 5. So I guess I won't be able to make it. None of that is true. So he calls my mom, and he's like, okay, well, Paige can't make it. And he explains the whole thing to her after I text her and tell her about it. So she's trying not to laugh, but he's like, okay, so I'm just going to take a half day because I'm getting my hair cut at 3. Just so you know, the party starts at 4. So my mom calls this hairdresser, and she tells Leah, she's like, you have to call Mike back and tell him you can't do it at 3. You messed up in your book, and you have to do it at noon or before that. And so Leah calls him back, and so my dad scheduled his hair appointment for 11. And we're like, okay. He's still going to work from home. But my mom tells him, she's like, yeah, so I made reservations for us at Papado's, but it's not until 7:30. And there's an emergency at work, so I can't make it. You're like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll work from Blue Ash the whole day. I'm like, Jesus Christ, thank you. So he goes to work, and then it's his co-workers' jobs. Their job is to get Dad to the Firehouse Grill. And we tell his boss to do it. We did not know that his boss is the slowest fucking person on the planet. So Dad was supposed to be there at 4:15. He got there at 4:50. 50. 50. Yeah. I was a little mad, but he got there and he had no clue because he's dumb. I love him, but he's kind of dumb. And so we all surprised him, and we had ice cream cake, and it was great. And so after that, at 7, I head back down to Cincinnati to watch the finale with Laura and Sarah and our friend Abby. So I get there and we're just talking. I still had to write papers, so that was cool. But I was working on my papers. And at about 8:45, Laura tells us, she's like, oh, you guys better move your cars, because if my mom gets home during the finale, she'll want them moved, and we don't want to miss it. So we're like, okay. So I ran out there, and I moved my car, and then Abby tries to start her car, and it won't turn. It won't turn on. So we spent 10 minutes, me, Sarah, Laura, and Abby, pushing this car out of the driveway and trying to manually parallel park it with nothing but our muscles. It actually worked surprisingly well, but it took a long time. And then I was the only person who knew how to jumpstart a car. And then I couldn't get it on one part of my battery. Eventually we got it, but by that time it was 5 or 10 minutes into the episode. So we're like, oh, well, it'll probably come back on at 11, like it usually does. Wrong. So we ended up going to Sarah was dog sitting. So we went and hung out there, and then we came back and we watched the episode at about 12. So Amy, right about when you were watching it. And we watched the episode, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to drive home this late. I'll just sleep here, and then I'll leave for school at 6:30 in the morning. I know it's only I'll only get 4 or 5 hours of sleep, but I don't want to drive right now. Well, Sarah went home at about 2, and then Laura, Abby, and I stayed up until 5 in the morning talking. Most of this conversation was about how we hate the patriarchy. Yeah. That was like a good 2 hours of our 3-hour talk. Let's fuck the patriarchy. So I ended up skipping school because I was like, my class starts at 9, 10, and I'm not driving on 1 hour of sleep or no hours of sleep. So I'm just gonna stay here. So I ended up spending 50 hours straight with Laura. Ew. So the next morning, Abby went home, and then Laura and I chilled, and we watched The Human Centipede, which is gross but kind of funny if you ever want to watch it. We also watched this because I'm on a horror kick right now. So we also watched, it's called VHS, it's on Netflix if anyone wants to check it out. But it was pretty good. Like, I think it's an independent film, so it couldn't do a lot of the things that other films do, but I think, like, it was pretty good. Laura screamed during it. Creepy children, man. They get her. But, yeah, it was really good. It's like basically like these bunch of douchebags go into this house because someone hired them to go find this tape, and they find all these tapes, and they're looking through them, and one by one they keep getting killed off, and you're really happy that they're getting killed off because they're douchebags. And then I guess there's like technically 5 stories and then a frame story, which is the douchey guys. But like the other stories pretty good, like the inside stories. There's a feminist monster, liked her. I think a harpy maybe. It seemed like a harpy and had wings. But it was really good. So if you watch it, don't expect that all of the videotapes go together, because they don't. Because that confused Laura and I at first. And then Laura came over to my house because we went to see Star Trek at midnight. Well, we meant to go at midnight, but there was a 9:45 showing. When we first got in there, we got there at 9:48. So when we first got in there, we were the only people in the entire theater. And I was really excited about that, but then like 5 more people came in. Oh well. Star Trek was really good. I was kind of mad that they sort of like ripped off the scene from Wrath of Khan, because it confused me at first too, because I was like, and then Laura spent the night again, and I worked on my story, and then Laura just kind of douched around on Tumblr on my couch. And then we went out to dinner again to this fancy seafood place called Papados, also for my dad's birthday. And I forgot that Laura doesn't like seafood. Oops. So literally we're like pulling up, and I see that it says Papados, seafood. I'm like, oh yeah, Laura, you don't like seafood, do you? Oops, there's chicken. But the chicken was really good. She got a half a chicken. Not like half order of chicken, like half, they cut a chicken in half and they cooked it. It was really good though. And I bought, since like I said, I'm on a horror kick, I bought the book House of Leaves, which are by Danielewski, I think is his name. So I'm really excited to read that. It's a book that you can't read on the Kindle, which I was kind of disappointed by, but everyone says that reading it on the Kindle ruins the experience, and if you saw the book, you don't understand why, because it's like there are pages where there's only like 3 words on a page, or there's like text that's been blocked out and moved, and they're like writing in the margins, and some words are color and some words aren't, like some words are red, some words are blue, like every time the word house comes up, it's blue. And basically it's about this dude who finds, from what I understand, because everyone's like, you can't really explain the plot. But basically what happens is, from what I've seen, this dude finds this crazy dude's notes, and the crazy dude was doing reports and recording this labyrinth type house where people were getting lost. And the way the book is set up is it's supposed to get you lost. Like there will be footnotes that'll go on for 14 pages. and like it directs you to the footnotes, it directs you to the appendix, and then back to footnotes, and it does all of this in order to get you lost in the book, which I think is really cool. And when I took it up to the guy at the counter at Barnes & Noble, he told me, he said, this is the scariest book I've ever read. So I'm really excited about it. But I'm not going to finish, or I'm not going to start it until I finish Game of Thrones, which I'm like a fifth of the way through. So I'm going to get on that so I can read. It's a well, I guess Game of Thrones is a monster too. But House of Leaves it's huge. But I'm excited. Oh, and today after class, I went to Julie's and I stayed there until about an hour ago, so until about 6. So I spent like 7 hours with Julie. And it was really fun, and we planned our trip because before I go to Disney, Julie and I are taking a road trip. So our destinations are Gatlinburg, and then Atlanta, Georgia, and then Atlantic City, Florida. So I'm really pumped about that. We're going to go to aquariums, and we're going to go hiking, and we're going to go on the beach, and we're going to have a nice dinner. And it's going to be really nice. And then she's going to fly up the night before I have to be at Disney, and then I'm going to sleep in a hotel room alone. We're taking 3 days for it, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday will be the trip for her. But yeah, I think it'll be really fun. I miss you guys. I wish that we all lived closer together, because then we could you could all douche around on my couch like Laura for 50 hours. It'd be fun. Alright guys, so I guess that's all. I will talk to you later. Tschüss.